Albertacce. Albertacce French pronunciation, Albertacce, in Corsican E Lupertacce, pronounced E Lupertacce, is a commune in the Haute-Corse department in the Corsica region of France. Geography. Albertacce is a commune of Nielu, a long, inaccessible micro-region where invaders were never able to conquer the mountain people, a long bowl cut from the world where there are blonde Corsicans with blue eyes and fair skin, and has become today the kingdom of hiking. It is located in the heart of the regional natural park of Corsica. Location. Albertacce is located high in the Corsican mountains, some 30 km in a direct line east by northeast of Porto on the west coast and 15 km west by northwest of Corte. The road distance is very substantially longer. Access to the commune is by a single road, the D4, which branches west from the D10 road just north of Castrela. It then follows the mountain ridge southwest to the village of Albertacce. The D4 continues southwest through the middle of the commune and down to the sea at Porto by a very arduous and convoluted route following the mountain ridges. This is the only road in the commune except for two short roads from the village, the D518 to Lazzi and the D218 to Casamaxioli from south of the village. Relief. The commune occupies the southwest part of Nielu, surrounded by a vast mountainous circle formed of high peaks in the watershed of Golo. Its boundaries are marked as follows. To the north and west, by the main mountain range of Corsica, the massif of Cinto with Paglia Orba 2525 m, Capu Tafana to 2335 m, Capu I Gargiol 2105 m, Capu di Guagnarola 1967 m, Puntacric 2057 m, the Col de Vergio 1478 m, Capu Aruggia 1720. To the south by the mountains of the Rotondo mountain range, its limits being delineated by the peaks Utriter 1725 and the southernmost summit, Punta Artica 2327 m and Capu di Afaxia 2113 m, 14 m. To the east by a line to the north from Capu di Afaxia through Castellumonton 1493 m, the fold of Tyleri 1040 m joining the Golo downstream of Pont Altu, and along the river to Lake Calacuzzi. This line bypasses the village of Albertacce and the hamlets of Pietra, Zitamboli, and goes back to Punta Cruza to 2499 m along a ridge through Capigliole, e Ferchil 1401 m, Capu di Villa 2184 m and Capu Falu 2540 m. In the midst of the basin of shallow siliceous soil which lies on a Hercynian granite base is the forest of Valdu Nielu, a vast forest of Corsican pine traversed by the Golo and which occupies the western part of the commune. To the northeast of Valdu Nielu, between the mountains of Cinto and a ridge linking Crusetta Punta 2499 m, Capu Falu 2540 m, Capu di Inzeca 2299 m, the Cresta di El Insec, Monte Albanu 2018 m, and the remarkable Cinque Frati 1986 m is the upper valley of Vuru, a tributary. The western slopes of the valley are covered by the communal forest of Albertacce, composed mainly of Corsican pine. The pine is called Lariciua large in Corsican language, is part of the large family of black pines. It can occur at altitudes between 1,000 and 1,800 m on sunny slopes. There are nuthatches, non-migratory birds, which live on the tree trunks moving head down. There are 2,000 pairs in Corsica. Along the length of Valdu Nielu on the southern slope of the Col de Vergio is another remarkable Corsican pine forest, the forest of Etone Ivissa. Towards the peaks on the shady side, between 1,600 and 2,100 meters, pushes the fragrant alder trees Bashuan Corsican. These are shrubs without trunks and rarely exceeds 3 meters high. Its leaves are sticky and its branches were once used by shepherds to cover their huts. The forest is said to be impenetrable. In February, the first Crocus corsicus can be seen on the mountains, species unique to the islands of Corsica and Sardinia. On the heights, mouflons can be seen from the colony of Cinto. Hydrography. The hydrographic network includes numerous streams and springs. The river Golo rises from 1991 meters in the commune south of the Paglia Orba 2525 m, and 200 m to the south of the Capu Tafinatu 2335 m. Its course is interrupted by the Calacoccia Dam. It leaves the commune 200 meters upstream of the Mazzola Bridge on the D218 road. The Veru, the main tributary of the commune, is fed by several streams such as that of Paglia Orba and Fogiel, bordered in part by the GR20. At the bottom of the creek beds, there are native species, the Tihenian painted frogs, Aberiolata toads living up to 1900 m, and Corsican brook salamanders, a tarantella. The Corsican brook salamander has no lungs. It breathes through the skin and mouth. Habitat. The small population of Albertacce is divided between the Albertacce village and the hamlet Pietra Zitamboli, the village Calissima, and in the forest of Valdu Nielu. Albertacce village E Lupertacce. The village is built on a gentle slope towards the river Golo in a remarkable chestnut grove maintained and harvested. Although standing near Lake Calacoccia, the limits of the town do not reach the lake. The houses are partly grouped, with the shops around the parish church. Others are aligned along the Dative 4. The old buildings were built with red tile roofs and walls built of grey granite. Some massive houses in the Baroque style were formerly houses for nobles. Albertacce has a water tank and a sewage treatment plant. Petra and Zitamboli. Zitambuli. Pietra and Zitamboli are two neighboring hamlets northwest of the village of Albertacce, Zitamboli being located below Pietra. Between the two a church was built. Its bell tower is similar to that of the parish church of the village and those of neighboring towns. Access is difficult. Both villages are served by the small road D318 that leads to Calissima. Calissima. Built at 1100 m altitude, Calissima is the highest village in Corsica. Today a hamlet of Albertacce, this village has houses clustered around its church, war memorial, and cemetery. Calissima is equipped with a water tank and a sewage treatment plant. The hamlet is a rare example of a cold summer Mediterranean climate. Valdu Nielu. The vast forest Valdu Nielu has some residents. Some people stay at Castello di Vergio, which has a hotel near the snow stadium. In addition, the 2nd Foreign Parachute Regiment of the Foreign Legion has a chalet at Vergio for their training in the mountains. At Papagea is the forester's house belonging to the ONF. Access to Albertacce is by the Dative 4 road, which is the only road which crosses the Nielu and serves all the communes of the microregion. Connecting to the N-Rhone 193 in the east near Francardo Omessa and to the Dative 1 going west to Porto Otto, the Dative 4, is a road that goes through remarkable attractions, the famous defile of Scala di Santa Regina to the east, the Col de Vergio 1478 m, where there is an imposing statue 6 meters high of Christ the King. To get to Calissima, take the D318 road at the village of Albertacce. After the village of Calissima, the road continues for several kilometers in a path along the stream Uveru and ends after a few kilometers at a height of 1096 m. Neighboring communes and towns. History. Prehistory. Excavations undertaken since 2006 on the site of Vergio at Albertacce and also at Zitamboli close to the hamlet of Calacoccia on a spur called E Mizane on the lakefront, have revealed some archaeological finds which attest to human presence at the end of the Neolithic and the Bronze Age. These include fragments of ceramics, stone tools like shards, a scraper, and arrowheads. The Archaeological Museum of Nielu of Lucian Aquaviva at Albertacce is intended to highlight the specific terminology of megalithic Corsican. A menhir statue, a stantor of a Nielu soldier wearing a suit of armor, a breastplate of the peoples of the sea, and a dagger was discovered during the demolition of the chapel of St. Jean Baptiste, which was decided on in 1985 by the City Council of Calacoccia. This stone, called Gh. Juven Baptister Roman III, was incorporated with 2 other menhirs into the walls of the chapel St. Jean Baptiste of Cavalcoccia that was next to the church when it was built in the 12th century, probably to confirm the victory of the Catholic religion over pagan rites. Antiquity. According to Ptolemy, Corsica was inhabited by 12 nations who, for the indigenous majority, had not been subject to Roman influence to a great extent. Niolu was inhabited by the Licnini, a people who occupied the middle basin of the Golo. Masters of the Cassiconi and Ampunani countries, they returned to the mountains, populating the cantons of Caxia and Niolu. The Greeks used the term Leoninoi to refer to the people. Middle Ages. It is also likely that the Saracen colonies of Corte and Balagny, harassed by Christian patriots, were driven back into Niolu, where significant names of Cavalcoccia and Calissimo were applied to two villages. In the 16th century, around 1520, the Pieve of Nielu was uninhabited. The Bank of St. George, which had managed Corsica since 1453, used the troops of Niccolò Doria in 1503 to destroy the houses in the villages of Lazzi, Alaqual, Urco, Corsia, Cavalcoccia, Casamaxioli, Sidasi, and Urbicincibi. The Bank of St. George did the same with the neighboring Pieve of formed by the Valley of Porto, ordering the depopulation due to the non-submission of its inhabitants to the lordship of Lecca, burning houses and crops. Modern times. From 1729, Niolu took part in the uprising against Genoa, creating unrest in opposing the publication of judicial decisions. In early March 1730, the people of Niolu occupied Vicu and seized 200 guns in the house of the lieutenant. On the night of 29 to 30 March 1734, Castinta attacked at Camputal Niolu Giacomo Santu Petraconi at the head of 300 Genoese troops, Greeks for the most part, and forced him to retreat to Vicu. On 13 January 1739, Lieutenant General Jean-Baptiste Francois Desmarets, Marquis de Maillebois, was appointed army commander of the king in Corsica, and he came to Corsica. On 24 June of the same year, Niolu submitted to General Maillebois. From 30 July to 1 August 1751, deputies and prosecutors from the Pieve assembled in Oletta and signed an act of submission to the Republic of Genoa, an act by which the King of France tried to make favourable for the Corsicans. Troops were ready to occupy the Niolu, which remained refractory. At the last moment, its inhabitants made their submission on 13 August 1751. On 15 May 1768, the Genoese ceded Corsica to France. After the conquest of the island by the French troops of Louis Roman XV in 1769, Niolu experienced savage military repression. The French subdued nascent revolts under the generalship of Pasquale Paoli. At the convent of St. Francois di Niolu in Corsican Conventu San Francisco at Cavalcoccia, 11 Niolans were hanged from the chestnut trees of the convent on 23 June 1774 on the orders of J. His name G.H. Giovanni Albertini is mentioned on the commemorative plaque at the entrance of the convent. With the revolution that created the department of Corsica with Bastia as prefecture, the Pieve of Niolu became the canton of Cavalcoccia in 1789. In 1793, the National Convention divided the island into two departments, Golo, which included Albertacce, and Limone. These were reunited in 1804 by Napoleon I, who re-established the Department of Corsica. Contemporary era. In 1954, Albertacce became part of the canton of Cavalcoccia, which consists of the communes of Albertacce, Cavalcoccia, Casamaxioli, Corsia, and Lazzi. Between 1971 and 1973, new cantons were created, including the canton of Nielu Omessa, created by the forced merger of the former cantons of Omessa and Cavalcoccia. Economy. The Niolu is a micro-region in the central northwest of Corsica to the west of Corte. It consists of the communes of Corsia, Cavalcoccia, Albertacce E Lupertacce, Lazzi, and Casamaxioli. It is located in the Regional Natural Park of Corsica and has always been a land of shepherds and traditions. The Niolu economy was, until the last century, dominated by pastoralism, with regular movements of herds of goats and mouflons in search of pastures. In early autumn shepherds drove their animals to the coastal plains, and at the end of spring they climbed back to the mountain pastures. The cheese Niellu in French must be tried to really know its character. It has a soft texture, but to be really good, it should be a little firm, smooth, and without holes, and be refined throughout its thickness. The old migration way started from Bargiana Manso, but it can be taken from the end of the D351 road, passing by the Pont de Rocks, the Col de Capunale, the refuge of Pascagia of the Pianorsi Ibissa, and Caputafanatu towards the Col de Vergio in the Albertacce commune. Although agro-pastoralism fell sharply in the Niolu, there are still a few shepherds who now produce cheeses to modern standards. Charcuterie and chestnut flour are also produced in the commune. The mountains attract more and more visitors, and tourism brings new resources to the people and creates jobs. Nowadays, migration trails are almost abandoned. However, farms, pigs, goats, and more recently cattle have developed, becoming the main activity of the commune. At the exit to the village to the Col de Vergio, animals are present in pens and also on the road. The ski resort of Vergio Campo di Neve is 22 km from the village and about 1 km before the Col de Vergio 1478 m. It does not have as much snow as the resorts of continental Europe. The reason is both a low number of days of snowfall, a thick layer of light snow most of the time, and the slopes are too short, insufficient to satisfy the customers. In addition, and since 11 May 2010, the Fishing Association Niellu has moved its headquarters to the town hall of Albertacce. This association, with 150 members covering the 5 communes of the canton, manages the aquatic environment of this beautiful region where the Golo rises. Administration. Albertacce is one of the 5 towns of Nielu and part of the canton of Golo Marsaglia. List of successive mayors of Albertacce. Population. Sites and monuments. Natural sites. Golo River. The Golo arises in the extreme west of the commune. It traverses the forest of Valdu Nielu and creates the remarkable Radul waterfall very close to the GR20. Further downstream it flows under the bridge of San Rimiero, where the sheep pens of Talarga are in the ruins of the San Rimiero chapel. At the approach to the village of Albertacce it passes under the bridge on the DD4 road, then under the Altu Bridge, which is a remarkable abandoned Genovese bridge. In summer, the natural pools of Golo are cool havens for the villagers and tourists. Forest of Valdu Nielu. The territorial forest of Valdu Nielu is backed in the north by the main mountain range of Corsica and on the northwest flanks of the Rotondo mountain range. It is mostly composed of European black pine, with other ricinous trees such as birch and fragrant alders bushu. Calissima. Calissima is a remarkable village, the highest in Corsica, at 1100 m altitude. Civil architecture. Pont Altu. Pont Altu is a Genovese bridge over the Golo downstream from the DD4 highway bridge. Pont de Muricciolu. This Genovese bridge, Pont Muricciolu, on the Vergio, tributary of the Golo, is located at 852 m above sea level, 1 km towards the Valdu in the northeast of Pont Altu and upstream of the confluence of the Vergio with the stream of Valdu. Close to the bridge is an oratory. Both are located on the way to the GR Mare Nord. Others. The statue of Christ, the King at the Col de Vergio 1478 m, a monolith 6 meters high carved from a block of pink Corsican granite, with a total height from the base of 9.50 meters. It is the work of the Corsican sculptor Noel Bernardi. It is in the commune of Albertacce, bordering the commune of Ivissa along the DD4 road. There is a parking area so that the breathtaking scenery can be admired to the full. The Niolu with Lake Callicuxia, the surrounding peaks of the Cinto Mountains, and an appreciation of the extent of the vast forests of Valdu Nielu and Aton. The Calissima War Memorial, located at the entrance of the hamlet. It is the highest war memorial in Corsica, erected at 1093 m altitude. Sacred architecture. The parish church of St. Mary Santa Maria with an isolated bell and exposed stone. The church walls are plastered. On the front right side, there are marble plaques on which are inscribed the names of the clergy priests, deans, canons, and vicars buried there. The chapel of St. Hyacinth, San Jacinto, a building from the 17th century. Located near the parish church, it houses the statue of St. Roch, which was placed there due to lack of space in the parish church. The chapel of St. Roch San Rocco at the Old Village. The church of Pietra Zitamboli. This small church is located between the two hamlets on a short but steep slope. It has a remarkable door. The church of Calissima. Its bell tower is identical to those of many churches in Niolu. The chapel of San Rimiero, a ruined chapel about 1050 m above sea level along the Golo. Holidays and leisure. 16 August. St. Roch San Rocco, Albertacce Employers Party. A Santa Diu Nielu. Every 8 September there is a celebration of the Nativity of the Virgin in the nearby village of Casamaxioli. The same day the Niolu fair starts and lasts several days. Vergio Ski Field. The ski resort of Castello di Vergio is located about 1.5 km from the Col de Vergio 1478 m. The snow stadium is equipped with lifts to serve 5 pistes and a ski school. It is open all year. There are rest houses, a hotel, and mountain restaurants. Hiking. The GR20 crosses the territory of the commune in its 5th and 6th stages, from Tigjitu to Siatulu di Mori, and from Siatulu di Mori to Manganu. The GR Mare Nord traverses the commune, connecting the Col de Vergio. There is a lodging in the village of Albertacce. Walks and hikes with a donkey are offered from a beautiful chestnut grove in the village. People can discover the Corsican mountains of Nielu, its many lakes and pastures by taking the hiking trails of the GR20 or the Mare Nord on a donkey. A trail that extends from the D318 comes to the sheep run of Ballon 1 hour 30 minutes walk, where it is possible to bivouac, find sheep cheese from the farm as well as drinks and a home cooking restaurant. Archaeological Museum of Nielu. This museum is not well known but is on all the guides as the only prehistoric archaeological museum of Haute-Corsica. On display are various objects from excavations on the sites of Sidasi Calacuxia and Akernatagja at Albertacce. The museum also displays the Stantar di Nielu menhir soldier. Others. A forest adventure park is located near the forester's house of Papakia in the forest of Valdu Nielu. Canyoning and kayaking on the Golo is available in the spring,